Good morning, everyone. It's Amy with Mama Bear Blue. Welcome. It's been a whole month, so I am back. Mom is not here. She's actually on vacation, so I know she's enjoying it. I'm hoping maybe she pops on here. It's been a while since I crafted, so I was really excited to start getting stuff together last night for the craft Valentine's Day stuff. All right, so let's see where to start. I think what I'll do, so I just came down a little early and poured some of these poured their resin into the IOD mold. Now this mold, I love this one. I haven't used it a lot, but the more I use it, I'm like, why haven't I used this more? It's got really cute little lowercase letters and numbers, and it's called Harper. And actually, IOD has retired this mold, but I just checked and I have a lot left. So Eric, you might drop the link for Harper. I poured a lot of X's and O's to make, for the Valentine's Day decor. So those are almost ready to take out of the mold, and I'll show you that. It's been a while since we've used resin here. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a demonstration real quick, just for a refresher on how we do this. So I thought I'd go ahead and pour one of the hearts that's in, this is one of our newer molds called Heraldry. So it's got a lot of really cute, it's got wings, it's got a crown, it's got a heart, it's got a crest, and then a little cameo. But this heart up here is the one I already poured and I've been working on, so I thought I'd show you guys this. At Farm Girl Mercantile, where I have my booth, my friend Tracy has a pink Christmas tree that she puts up at Christmas, and it's decorated, of course, all with Christmas stuff during Christmas, but then when that comes down, then it all goes up with Valentine's Day decor and ornaments, and it's really cute. So I think what I'll do is make some of these and turn some of them into magnets, and some of them are going to go on little burlap pennants that I'll show you guys in a second, little burlap banner that you can get on Amazon. And I'll be able to drop that link later after I pull it off of Amazon, Eric, so don't worry about that. But we're going to make some little ornaments and a little banner with these. All right, let me get my thoughts together here. So casting resin comes in part A and part B, and all you do to mix it up is use equal parts A and B. So what I do is get they come with these little cups, but I also at the Dollar Tree buy these because I just throw them out right after I use them. So I kind of they do have like markings on them for, these do. I don't know if the Dollar Tree ones do, but for like the different milliliters, but I usually just set them side by side and eyeball it and make sure that they are the same, because if they're not the same, they're not going to activate right and it won't set up properly. So we're going to do, and I will tell you, IOD just started, maybe been a year or two ago, putting next to each mold, they actually have the amount of resin needed in mLs. So like this one requires 17 mLs total. So then half of that would be what A would be, and the other half would be B. But I'm going to actually just eyeball. And what I do is if I have extra, I usually have another mold standing by with smaller things that I can kind of fill in and make some extras to put back for a future project. This one actually is marked, so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that. That's 10 ml, and this is not. Let's see. Just a little more of the. All right, so then what I wanted to do then was take the part A and part B and then mix them together. And what kind of, I'm going to use this cup. Oop. So pour each in there just at the same time like that. Now you're on a little bit of a time crunch once you've done that. So you want to take a popsicle stick or craft stick or whatever you've got. As soon as those are together, you start stirring. And it's going to turn white and cloudy. And then it will start to, I would say 30 seconds. The less you have, the quicker it happens. But you'll see it start to turn back to clear. And once that happens, and if you guys feel more comfortable wearing gloves, I'm usually pretty careful about not getting this on me, believe it or not. But if you want to wear gloves, I know some people might have sensitive skin with using the resin. All right, starting to get back to clear. So I don't want to wait too much longer because now it's starting its setup process. And I'm going to just pour it right into the mold. And make sure I go around. I think I'm going to have just enough on this one. Make sure you go around and get all the little edges. And it will kind of roll around and start filling itself in. I'm going to use my little stick to kind of work some of these over to the side. And if you over pour, which I have done a lot, don't worry about it too much. Don't worry about trying to clean it all up right now, because when it does pop out of the mold, you can trim up the sides. If it's got a bunch like hanging over, you can use scissors, or sometimes it just breaks off pretty easily. So I will set this aside carefully, and you're going to slowly see this start to turn white. Okay, so I'm going to push this up and out of the way so I don't mess that up. And just let it be. Okay, so the way you test it to see if they are ready to come out is just start at one edge and see if it's easily popping out of the mold. I'll show you guys. And this definitely is. These have been for at least 30 minutes, so that's a little L. I made some extras because I also spelled out the word love, and then I wanted to make some extra O's and X's. So I'll show you what I mean by over pour. This E was definitely an over pour. You see all that extra that got on that E, but I'm going to go ahead and just trim that off. It's easy to do. See, some of it just tears right off. These little Tim Holtz scissors come in super handy. I use these for trimming decoupage paper if I need to get really detailed. These are good. When these molds come out, this amazing casting resin, which is also on my website, it is ready in about 10 minutes, but also paintable right away. So you can go ahead and start painting it without worrying. The other thing I use in the molds are the IOD clay. That works really well too, but for these I wanted to use the resin. All right, we're good on that. That'll clean that up later. You can already see this heart up here. Can you guys see that? Already turning white. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. It's kind of, I felt like this is kind of, these little banners, it's kind of like doing a little mixed media project or a little collage. Not so much mixed media, probably collage. But these, again, are the little banner pennant things I'm going to put a link to from Amazon. And then the JRV paper I just told you guys about looks like this. And it's got lots of Vintage Valentines. I think right now I have probably 2 or 3 pages of this left. So, Eric, if you are able to drop a link for that, that's fine. If not, we'll do it later. What I did was I cut out one that would fit pretty closely to this burlap pennant, and I just glued it. Actually, I was trying to sell this one at one point, obviously. It's got a price tag on it. To some really thin cardboard. You know, just like the kind of cardboard thickness of like you know, the boxes you wrap things in at Christmas, like the shirt boxes. And I decoupaged, or I glued it to it, or decoupaged it, and then trimmed around it. So it's the only reason I did that, wanted that for this project, is it's a little more sturdy than just paper. And it's already kind of, you know, if I just tried to glue the tissue paper to the banner, I think it just wouldn't stand out as much. And it might even show the burlap pattern behind it. So that's why we did that one. But this is a really cute one. So that is glued to paper. And I want a little bit of a background behind it. So I took if you guys remember, Mom and I used the hymnal book pages quite a bit in our lives in January. And Kathy, 29 degrees here? And you don't do Valentine's, you go straight, yeah, Mardi Gras. Yep, that's big down there, isn't it? Good grief, you're having a cold streak down there for you guys. I mean, I know we are. It's like 1 degree. I don't know. It's frigid here, though. And possibly a snowstorm this weekend, so we'll see. I tore out a couple little squares of just some random music from, actually, I did try to look for ones that had the word love or like Valentine's Day things. And I just want to give this a bit of a background, and I am going to let them hang off the edges of this. So I do have my hot glue gun going. You could use a glue stick if you want on this, but this is what I have handy right now. So just to give that heart a little bit of a background behind it. It's something interesting. All right. I'm going to take the actual heart with a little girl on it. And center it right there in the middle. And then this little piece was actually part of the little image. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys that. With this burlap, because it does have holes in it, just be a little careful. You might want to like put down parchment paper or something so you don't, because the glue does start to come through the back just a little bit. So we have that so far. These are so easy to do. And so what I was saying was this little word, love's fair exchange, was part of this image on the decoupage paper, but I did it separately so that it could kind of stand out and I could move the words around to a different part of the Valentine, if that makes sense. So where do I want it? Do I want it at the top, the bottom? I think at the bottom. When you do, if you do the little trick about putting it onto the cardboard first, I would either go ahead and use like the white cardboard that's already white, or just paint the cardboard a little bit white, because then when you put the decoupage paper on to the cardboard, it shows up a little better than if it was brown or a darker color. So far we have that. I'd actually made and painted these, the X and the O earlier, and I painted it with golden ticket. I'll tell you about these sizes here in a second of the DIY. And I had in mind that I was going to use it on this, but maybe I will, I think I will maybe put them on this. I think that was just the pop of gold that I needed. I can make some more for this one. I think I already have them, so we just need to paint them gold. Okay. So hot glue would be fine on this. The only time I've had trouble with hot glue is if it's stuff that gets too cold or too hot. It'll kind of shrink, or, you know, especially cold. I feel like that's when sometimes hot glue loosens up. So if it's something that you're putting outdoors under a porch or something, I would use something a little sturdier, like E6000. I've used E6000. I like to buy these little tubes of it, and I use it in combination sometimes with the resin. Yeah, that's cute. All right. Now I want to, so I'm thinking I might just do these as individual ornaments, because I do want to be able to have a few to put on the tree at Farm Girl near my booth. But you could easily continue to make them like this, make, you know, like 5 or 7. I always like odd numbers. And then use like a jute string like this and glue them all to the string, so you've got a really cute little banner. But I think for these, I'm going to just do a little loop like that and make these into individual ornaments. Whoop. And this was just as, I think I probably got this at Hobby Lobby. Nope, Walmart. All right, let's turn this over and glue this into a little loop. I probably need to reheat that glue gun. So let's let that sit on there a minute and come back to that. In the meantime, I think I'm going to need a little bit of colorful ribbon to make a little bow to maybe tie onto the top of that. Let's see if this pink would be, yeah, I think that would be cute. This is just some sheer ribbon, sheer pink ribbon from Hobby Lobby. I have so many spools of ribbon in my craft hoard. put a dot on each side. If you are local, I am going to be having a class at Farm Girl. I'm still deciding on exactly which one it's going to be. But if you are on my email list for classes, if you're local, you'll be getting an email here within the next couple weeks. But it's going to be Friday, February 20th. So I'll let you know what that one is at Farm Girl Mercantile. And then in March, Friday, March 13th at Southport Antique Mall. So, right. Whoop, glued it to my thumb. So you could hang that on a little tree if you do Valentine's trees, or like I said, make this more into a banner if you can make several of them. I think that's pretty cute. I don't know why I didn't think about using the X's and O's too often before, but they're really cute, the molds. I should have gotten on the ball a little earlier, planning my classes, and done this as a class around this time of year, but it didn't work out. I needed a few weeks off to do some planning for the year, and so that's why we weren't on. And Mom will be back in a couple of weeks after her taking a little break. I don't want this ribbon. I want it anchored to this one side. So I don't want it sliding around a lot. So I'm going to put a little dot of hot glue right underneath. And so cute. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. If anything, I'm going to go back in with a little of the golden ticket, liquid patina, and just maybe hit these edges just so there's a little sparkle on the edges of that heart. But for now, I'm going to set that aside. And I want to tell you guys, I have a limited supply. If you are wanting to try out DIY paint or just try a different color, I have several colors that we have 2-ounce samplers in. And they're limited, like they aren't going to make these anymore. So if you, I will have Eric put the link to our collection of 2-ounce. Eric, if you're able to do that. Good. So I have, I think there's Carnival Red, Petticoat Pink, some White Swan, Little Black Dress, the popular colors. And then we also do have the Golden Ticket, a few of these left that are in the 2-ounce if you just wanted to try it out. Okay, let's get back to doing these molds. And I'm pretty sure I'm making this one into a magnet because it's just, I think would look really cute on the refrigerator or something. But so we poured this when we started, right? It's ready. And I can tell that just by popping on the edge, and it starts to pop right out like that. Okay, so this was the heraldry mold. I'm going to tell you a couple other cute ones that make really cute Valentine's decor before I forget. Lock and key. You could do a heart and one of the keys, like key to your heart. And this one also has a couple, and it is called, which was that? This one is Cameos, and it has a couple hearts in it as well. And then I'll show you in a second, but Be Below 2 has 2 heart ornaments. So this is Christmas ornaments, but there's 2 of them are hearts, which look perfect for the Valentine's Day. Okay, I'm going to catch this one up to look like this one. Before I do that, though, let me get to painting on this white X and O. What I wanted to do was paint these gold so they could be glued to that mold. And then the colors I used on this one were Kissing Booth. It was Kissing Booth with the gold on the outside. So I think I might do the Petticoat Pink, which is the softer pink on this one. So again, I'm just using an artist brush and getting a coat of the Petticoat Pink on there. I'm going to go ahead and cover the whole thing, and then I'm probably going back with the Golden Ticket and going over the border in gold. I'm going to set that aside for just a second. While that's drying, I am going to grab the 2 hearts that I did from that mold. Forgot it already. Cameos. So the 2 small hearts, and get some pink or red going on those. Let's do Carnival Red on this. Something I found out from other retailers and Debbie herself, who makes the DIY paint. This is Carnival Red, by the way. If you paint red or a hot pink first and then go over the whole thing in the gold, it really makes the gold pop. So anytime you can use your background as red or the darker pinks and go over it in the gold, it looks gorgeous. I think that's what I'm going to do on this, at least part of this heart. I'm sure that's something about color theory. How it really just makes the gold look really rich. This is a really pretty Carnival Red. I always think of Marquee as the traditional Christmas red from DIY, but Carnival Red is definitely the Valentine's Day red in my opinion. It's because it's just a tiny bit softer, maybe just a little more towards rose, but it's vibrant. Do that. So this other little one I think I'll do in Carnival Red as well. In the 2-ounce samples, I don't have all the DIY paint colors. There's just a selection. So you'll see them if you do click over to that. Good morning, Paula. How are you? Thanks for hopping on here. We're just doing some Valentine's Day decor. I meant to have a wet rag near me and I do not. Cap on this. So I'm going to use a couple, I think, of these smaller molds and glue them, and not onto the pennant, but I'm going to need to let those dry first. So we'll be sure to get some good pictures. But I might use those in my collage, well, like I did here. But I mean, I wanted to use some of the bigger hearts on there. Okay, so let's get back to this because I do want to get the X and the O, and I might have to speed this up with a little bit of, I think I do. I'm going to use my heat gun. See if I can speed that up just a bit without melting the resin. All right, this looks really cute. I'm going to get this on there. I think I am actually going to use a little bit of E6000 with the hot glue on this because these are a little heavier and they don't sit completely flat onto the mold. So I just want to make sure we have good bond there. It might help if I actually open the glue bottle. I buy the little disc magnets because I do a lot of crafts and classes where we make little magnets of some sort. So I buy those little discs from Amazon. They come a lot to one package. Ooh, I got too much. I don't like all that's getting out of there. Let me get something to get that picked out. Got a little too much E6000 and then it squished out everywhere. Don't want that. I'll probably touch that up in there. Where that glue is showing, I can touch it up with some of the pink kissing booth. Just a little bit of hot glue. Hot glue always does the quick, sets it quick for you, and then the E6000 will give you the longer bond, stronger hold. It's on there pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and touch that up right now with kissing booth, which is the hot pink. Where did I put? Here it is. I don't like all that glue coming over the edge. Let's cover it up. Have you ever left Titebond? Yes, I use Titebond Quick and Thick a lot. I do. I use that, especially for my wood projects. If I have that, I love it. That was advice from a long time ago from Jamie and Zeb. Titebond, E6000, and hot glue are usually my go-tos for different things. Let me grab an artist brush. Sorry, let's try this. outside, and then we're going to call this one done. I'll use some E6000 and hot glue to get that little disc magnet on the back of this in a little bit. And I will paint on the magnets. I don't so much, it doesn't really matter, but if you're making these as ornaments, you could drill a tiny hole up here and put some ribbon and hang it on a Valentine's Day tree or a gift bag. But in that case, I would paint the back gold or pink or whatever color you've used. It just looks a little more finished when you do that. So this though, it's going to be a magnet. It's not going to matter. Again, that's the heraldry mold, and then Harper. I think that's really cute. All right, so the other one I want to show you guys was from the heart that I poured from the Be Below, which was a Christmas ornament mold, but has the 2 hearts. I love that one. So these came from, this is what they looked like when they came out. And I went ahead and painted this one in black with gold on the sides. And I think what I'm going to do is try to use either a transfer in there or a paint inlay on that one. But I'm gonna think about that. In the meantime, I'm gonna get one of my hearts painted. I love it because these already come with the hoop for you to tie the ribbon into. So let's work on this little one. I'm gonna do, I think, the kissing booth on this one. These I'm setting aside because I'll use when I make my next one of these with some decoupage paper like we did here if you're just popping on. Let's go ahead and get some kissing booth onto this one. You can also use these Iron Orchid Designs molds for like shortbread or cookie mold or candy, like melted chocolate. They just say that when you have a mold that you're using for cooking, that you just dedicate that one just to cooking and don't actually use it for the resin and the clay as well. All right, let's get that hit it with the heat gun. Okay. I do too, Dana. I love that mold. It's pretty versatile. I poured a lot of the clear, got some golden ticket on there. I used the clear casting resin, which I sell as well, in these, and made them into, and the decoupage the back of them, and you could see the decoupage through the clear, and they looked really pretty. I love that. All right. I will end up painting the back of this because I do just want this to be a hanging ornament. But I'm going to go around the edge with the gold. Probably should use this. And we'll get some pretty ribbon tied onto this and decide what we need to put in the middle. You could also use transfers. Did I say that already? You could definitely use transfers. Paint inlay would be pretty too. I think the paint inlay, little tiny scrap of a paint inlay from IOD would look really good on the black one. It'd stand out. I'm just trying to be careful to keep it just on the border here. Probably rushing it a little bit on that, but let's get this key painted gold and then glue it to that and just see what we got. All right, E6000 and hot glue. This time I do not want it squishing out everywhere, so I'm gonna plan ahead a little bit and take some of this and rub it, make sure everything's covered, but not so much that it's gonna come out the sides of that. I think I like it pointing down. Yes, that's cute. Because the mold, the heart's a little bit like not completely flat, it's got a little bit of shape to the top. I'm just holding this down until that hot glue can grab a hold and keep the edges down. Cute. Okay. This, yeah, I love how vibrant the gold is with that pink in the background, but let me get a ribbon on here and then I'll show you guys the final thing. What do we do? It's not an exact match to this gold, but I'm gonna go for it. I can always change it out later. All right. Could just use jute on this too, but I feel like it's a little more blingy. It's a little more fancy than just putting jute on it. So I will probably have some of these for sale that I finish at Farm Girl on the Valentine's Day tree. Won't be long before Valentine's Day stuff comes down and we have all our spring stuff going up. It's coming. So Lock and Key and Be Below 2 are the two molds for this one. I'm going to still need to touch up a little bit of the kissing booth there where we got too much glue coming out, but I love that. Those were fun. All right, guys, I'm going to finish up with doing, yeah, let me get close up in case you just joined us. So that was our first one. And this one's going to be turned into the magnet. So I'm going to finish up making some more of the pennant kind and like this and make maybe a banner with 3 to 5 of them on there. And then I will get some pictures and get these stocked at Farm Girl. All right, guys, thank you for joining me today. It's fun to get back into doing this. And thank you, Eric, for dropping links. And I will be back next Monday. Mom will be back in a few weeks. She's taking a little break and getting a well-deserved vacation. I don't think she popped on here today. I didn't see her. We need to talk her into popping on here next Monday. Thanks for joining us, guys, or me, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye.